Mindy LaScala, welcome to the MTake podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
We're so excited to have you. I believe I've always been a little woo-woo-y, but as I've talked about recently on the pod, I'm like really leaning in to spirituality, woo-woo, all of it. And I think the universe like has little things that they'll wink at you about, or like things will come to you when you need them. And we know each other. We go way back from college, like freshman year. We met, we had like 6 degrees of separation. But then outside of that, I've kind of just followed you on Instagram. You popped into my feed when I was in what I now know was like a really deep place of postpartum depression. And I wasn't aware to that at the time. And I was kind of in that power through white knuckling phase. And I think it was literally like the first post you did on your account, which we will get into and what you're doing right now. And I immediately, without even thinking, just DM'd you and was like, hey, I think, I don't know if you've seen, but I have a little podcast with my best friend and I love your messaging and I would love to have a conversation with you. I never do that. That's Michelle's job. She does all the outreach. That is not me. But for whatever reason, I was called to connect with you. And then we spoke over the phone and it was so organic and really just felt like a kismet moment. And then I'm going on a tangent, but we kind of put it on the shelf. It was like, okay, talk in a couple months. And when I was going back into your account like a week ago, and I've been following along, but like pressed your profile and I saw that you had nervous system regulator in there. And I hadn't cued into that. I don't know if that was like a new line that you've put in recently. The way in which in the last 3 weeks, my like 3 favorite words are nervous system regulation. It is I've said, nope, I need a nervous system regulation this week. I can't do it. I'm regulating my nervous system. This is my main focus. So when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, this is the universe. Like we are so ready for this conversation.
We are ready collectively, in the universe. We are all ready. Like I agree. Nervous system regulation, like it's become a hot bud topic too. And it's my favorite thing to talk about. And when you said that, if it's new to my bio, technically it is. I had originally put emotion regulation because I thought that was a little more like understandable. And now I'm seeing that people understand and are getting to know nervous system regulation. And I was like, okay, people need to see this so they can connect it, because I think what I do with CPR training and nervous system regulation are directly connected, and especially in motherhood. And so I agree. I've absolutely I'm deep into my woo-woo place, like since last summer. And I don't really believe in accidents anymore. And so I agree. I think it is kismet, and I love to talk about this and I'm excited.
Oh my God. We're so excited to have you here. Before we start to dive in, would you mind just starting with a little bit of an intro of who you are for our listeners and your journey, what you're doing now, and a little bit of your journey and how you got there?
Yes. So I am Mindy LaScala. I'm a former ICU nurse of about 10 years and current stay-at-home mom now, pivoting into CPR instructor role. But I worked in surgical trauma originally, ICU, then moved out to LA and worked in the neuro ICU. And most recently, I worked on the medical ICU, which is also known as the pulmonary ICU. So it focuses on like lungs and breathing issues, where we were the COVID unit, the COVID ICU for 2 years. And I finished up on that unit with my first pregnancy. I went on maternity leave. And then, as so many mothers that I know now do, I realized I want to be home. I wanted to be with my son. And it wasn't until I was pregnant with my second son that I started to go into more nervous system regulating knowledge and education. I started training in hypnobirthing, which is a method for labor to help women achieve a more comforting, calm, relaxed birth.
Love that.
And through that training and those repetitive exercises, I realized, oh my gosh, this is a lifestyle shift I want to make. Like, I want my mindset and my body and my, nervous system to really recognize my capabilities and my calm and my abilities just in general. And so I attribute all of those things to really the creation of Calm Responder. It kind of was in the works. Like, I've always talked about life-saving skills. I'm always I'm the house nurse, I'm the family nurse, I'm my friend's nurse. Like, I'm getting phone calls to just like random things that I'm mostly Googling, but I'm always that like resource, and I love to be that. But last summer there was an accident that happened at my community pool in my neighborhood that, like you said, it was a universe. Sometimes I hesitate to say that because everybody's interpretation of signs, universe, fate, all of that, it can be really upsetting to some people, and I really respect that. But my perspective has been, I'm being spoken to by the universe, or these occurrences aren't by accident or happen chance. So last summer I was at my community pool with my 2 boys for a swim lesson, and it's a very upsetting story. So I don't, of course I get upset when I talk about it,
Yeah.
but
Permission to feel. We're here for you.
thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I first and foremost, I want to tell you he's alive and well. The little boy, he made it, and he is great. He's living a beautiful, normal life, and he is actually turning 5 next month. And it's crazy, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited to go to his birthday party. So I heard a scream at the pool, and in my line of work, a scream from a scared scream, and a scream from the worst thing in the world could have possibly just happened scream. And so immediately I knew I needed to run over, but I was with my boys. I'm in this zone of like, I'm fully on them. Somebody else is going to have to do it. And within the same breath, it was like, who? I don't know who, so I'm going to go. And so thankfully I knew the swim instructor personally, and he was able to take both my boys, who were at the time were 1.5 and 3.5. And so I ran over there, and the little boy who was 4 at the time had fallen in the pool, and we're not sure if he couldn't have been in for more than 5 minutes, but he was not breathing and did not have a pulse when I got there. And together, his mom and I saved his life.
Oh my God.
He didn't wake up at the pool, but he was breathing and he had a pulse. But when EMS arrived, and then later in the night, I heard from mom. I had stalked her on Facebook, and then she's actually like one of my best friends now. She's the most incredible mother, and it's just like a testament to like how this can happen at any point. She told me he had woken up and was acting completely himself, and like the joy and relief of that and knowing he's okay is amazing. But, she also had to grieve him for a minute, and like the process of going through losing him and then getting him back. It's a whole other story. But, this process has been just really enlightening and overwhelming, and led me to this place of realizing people don't need to just know what to do in those moments before EMS arrives, but they also need to know what to do when the event occurs before fight or flight takes over. So how do we make the right move, right? Do the right decision, make the right decision when the event has just catapulted my cortisol levels through the roof, And so that's where I think nervous system regulation, and I hear feedback.
Yeah.
We're back.
Okay.
We're back.
We're back.
Not sure where that was coming from, but it was a good.
No.
She's a good nervous system regulator.
I just made it up
say
right
that
now.
one more time. One more time. Say
Yeah.
it.
If it is calming us, then it is for us.
Ooh, tattooing on
Tattoo
my forehead.
Love it.
Okay. Back to this very serious topic.
Yeah, I know. This is the story of my life, to be honest. Going from one extreme to the other. That's motherhood
Totally.
too, right?
I have so much to say.
Yeah, let's
Mindy.
start there.
Mindy, first of all, thank you for sharing with us. And I just want to go back to yourself in that moment right after that and just like give you a huge hug and thank all the heavens, all the lords, whatever you believe in, that you were there in that moment. I also have 2 little boys with the same age range. So like, I'm just picturing you going through that, but also like, I feel your heart because I find that
Thank
my nervous system, and I'm a pretty regulated person, but you throw 2 boys in the mix and I'm all over the damn place most of the time.
Absolutely.
So I can only imagine zoomed in a context like that. But also what a beautiful gift now that you were able to kind of use that experience for the better and how you can make an impact, as we say, on our space in this world. Because you know, if you're taking the CPR class, yeah, you know the rigmarole of what to do, right? But as you said, it's carving out the space, like that meta moment, but the small one between the stimulus and your reaction or your response. And how do you low emotion, high cognition, the shit out of those experiences? So, personal anecdote, a little bit about me just for context backdrop, and then the anecdote, and then Mindy, I want to hear everything on your heart and mind as it relates to everything I'm about to share. So when I gave birth to my second son, I realized that I have like pretty significant postpartum anxiety, especially when it comes to the intrusive thoughts around getting hurt. So big triggers for me: swimming pools, drowning, choking, seeing a rock and picturing just like head first, all of the above, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I worked through it, got better, wonderful. And now I know as my boys have gotten older, like blood is just par for the course from a daily perspective. Like,
This is correct.
this is true. Like small scale, you know, blood on the shirt. Okay, fine. So now let's bring you to Sunday of Mother's Day at 7 p.m. We are so close to bedtime. The Google timer just went off to go upstairs. Mama's about to order sushi and watch Vanderpump Rules on the couch. I mean, we are like living the dream. Okay.
That's right. The moment.
The moment, exactly. The moment is my 3-year-old jumps off the couch, slips, flips, his head bashes into our coffee table, and there's blood everywhere. And I literally...
That's the nightmare.
That's the nightmare. It's like, okay, now I'm grappling with the fact that my intrusive thought just came true. And I saw it happen. And I go immediately to worst case scenario. I didn't have a crevice of space before my fight and flight took over. I was the highest emotion. Cognition was nowhere. Like not even a minute.
Who is she?
Who
you can't in
the
emergency?
hell is she?
No. Yeah.
Thankfully, my husband is the grounding factor there.
Great.
Where I literally looked at him before I think we even picked him up from the floor, like my child. I looked at him and I was like, I am not okay. I am picturing him dying in this moment. You need to take over. And thankfully he did, and it was fine. And fast forward, like he's fine. He's got his stitches. He's got his staples. We saw his skull. He was conscious. There was no damage that could have been really, really, really bad. But now the aftermath, I think everything is going to end up that way. So like, how do I regulate my nervous system in those moments?
This is good.
And post, like day to day, everyday life.
Yes. This is so, I mean, just relatable is not even a strong enough word. You know, like every mother of boys, girls, the like, you know, we all experience some level of that in intrusive thoughts and also in it actually becoming reality.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So there's a couple things I want to say. You know, first, you actually handled that way better than you think you did. I really mean
appreciate
it.
that.
Because also my training does not revolve around being like, and now we are going to call 911 and we are going
It's
to
not
just
reality.
breeze through. Yeah, no, none of us are like that in emergencies. That's not reality. I mean, some of us who have an ICU background are like that. And you're like, are you okay? Why? Like, pick up the pace, have a little urgency. And that's my trauma to bear. But most people do not, go through an emergency calm, cool, and collected. And saying that you're not okay and that you're picturing worst case scenario out loud to your partner so that they know, boom, I got to step in. Best thing you could have done. Best thing. Because if you're not online, you're not accessible and you are not going to be useful. Your usefulness was being like, I
100%.
love my kids. I am here. I will be delegated if I can, but I really am not online right now. So
Yes.
wonderful.
Totally.
You guys clearly have a wonderful partnership and you guys are clearly wonderful parents. Like, this is
Thank you.
a very difficult thing to go through.
Yeah.
And postpartum anxiety is so real. I had postpartum depression. I thought I had anxiety, but it turned out it was more, it's called hypervigilance due to PTSD. So it's like I'm hypervigilant in settings that are, high emergency, but also just like even keeled because I was trained for almost 10 years to anticipate disaster. Like that was my job, was to be like, what can go wrong here so I can interrupt it? And, so that created hypervigilance in me. But postpartum anxiety and postpartum depression, I understand very, very, I really am familiar. And the intrusive thoughts is also, I wanted to touch on. Postpartum anxiety or not, every parent has that. Every parent does experience a level of intrusive thoughts. And as an example, I'm here at my cousin's right now. She just had her baby boy and he's going to be 4 weeks tomorrow.
So
and we're
cute.
just in the newborn, like, being on the other side. It's like, oh, it's so delicious. And then I'm looking at her and I'm like, I'm sorry. I know this is insane. Your like world has been rocked. She's doing incredible. She's the most amazing mom. But I'm watching her with him. And suddenly I'm seeing the baby topple out of her hands in my head. I just watch it and I'm like, that's not happening. It's not real life.
Yes.
I'm okay. We're okay. I'm safe,
Yes.
The intrusive thoughts, something like this happening, and then the fear of being like, well, here you go. I should be scared of everything. I should be worried about everything. Why shouldn't I be hypervigilant like this? My friend at the pool last summer, she was working so hard to kind of back off her kids that summer. She was trying to be like less hypervigilant, to be like, okay, we can, we've got this, we're doing this. And the worst case scenario happens. And like, how do you move forward and say, okay, that's probably not going to happen again and I can do this? And the answer is you have to work a little harder, which is really a bummer. And you can do it because the hard, scary, painful things, like, they're going to happen. We can't anticipate them, but we can know that we are capable in those moments, and we can come up with somewhat of plan.
Yeah.
On how to handle them when we're in them.
I like that because you're regaining the control of the narrative.
Yes.
Without spiraling. Like you're like,
there's so much out of our control.
Yeah.
And it's true that we don't know when an emergency can arise, but that is not a reason for us to sit in like fear and doom and anguish of like anticipating something horrible happening.
Right.
So a lot of that ends up being mindset work. And so I say that in the beginning of each of my courses. I give my introduction, and then in my CPR courses, I give my introduction, and then before we go right into the skills, I do a little nervous system regulation training, but then I also tell them I do things a little differently. I'm going to sound a little woo-woo. You might think that I'm like being a little like you might roll your eyes and be like, yeah, I do this stuff every day. Or you might be like, how can I be expected to do this in an emergency?
Right. Can we do
And the
one
answer
right
is
now together?
we'll do. So in the beginning of class, I do just a really basic breathing exercise, and it's so basic, but it's just enough to remind our bodies that we're safe and in them. So you're going to breathe in for 4 and breathe out for 6. Ready?
Yes.
Okay, breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another one in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And one last one. In for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Very simple.
Can I ask a
Very
question?
effective.
So
Yes.
good.
Okay, so I remember hearing once that you should be doing those exercises through your nose in and through your nose out. Is that correct?
Both are correct.
Okay. There was
So
I wasn't sure if there was even more of like a regulation reset.
somewhat. So it depends on what you're looking for. So with the smaller outlet, not the mouth, you're kind of having to be more intentional with the breath in and out. And it's a little harder to do.
Right.
So it can regulate you in different ways. Like yoga, I feel like in through the nose, out through the mouth.
Yeah.
And meditation a lot of the time. But it really is what feels right. Sorry, bug. It is really what feels right to you and your body in that moment.
Love it.
And physiologically, I don't have all the answers. But so I'm sure there is some biological answer that is more eloquent than the one I just gave.
No,
But
it's perfect. Just get
yeah,
breathing.
it's good.
Get breathing.
And
get back to basics.
the longer breath out it tells your body that you are here, you're safe, and it gives you a second. It just gives you a second to think a little clearly. You don't notice it in the moment, and that's what I was going to touch on next, actually, is that most of my training is based around practicing in non-emergent but activating moments. And those are, you're rushing out the door, you're late, everybody's late. Your 3-year-old won't put his shoes on. He wants to wear his sandals, but he has to wear his shoes because it's school and you have to keep him safe. Your little one is knocking things off of the table, and then suddenly there is so much milk on the ground and you're late already. And you can't, there's no time for it.
God.
You're in traffic, you're late. Most of this surrounds lateness, but no, they're just examples. Your baby's crying, won't go down for the nap, and that crying that you can't really do it for them. They have to do it themselves. You're there for them, but that feeling of what am I going to do? This feels like an emergency in my body, and it's not an emergency.
So
it's not a true emergency. Yes, you're being chased by a bear. And
we
it's
say that
honestly,
all the time.
that is what it is. And the biological response is very similar to being chased by a bear. Your cortisol levels, when they go up, for certain people, it's worse than others.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean by working harder, is that with someone who has experienced something like this, like your kid knocked his head, all the blood, that terrifying situation, you end up having to work a little harder.
Yeah.
To believe in yourself, believe in those truths, because just like your 2 truths, no lies, I'm really excited to get to that part, because there's so much that has to be true at the same time. And if we're going to acknowledge the fear and what could happen and how badly it could go, then we have to acknowledge what could really go right. And if we focus on it, we'll be guided. We will be. I feel very strongly about that.
I love that. We always say what's the best that could happen instead of what's the worst that could happen. But applying that in this mindset, because my brain goes what if more went wrong? But what if more went right? Or what if it went right instead?
And it's easier said than done, right? It is. I am under no impression that we can just live in this toxic positivity bubble that nothing could possibly go wrong. But eventually you can get to a point of, this could go really bad. It probably won't.
Okay, now I can hear you.
Yes.
I can hear you.
This
We're
is
good.
nuts.
Okay.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. All right.
We've got everybody.
Oh my God. We're back.
I mean,
We're
listen,
back.
We're doing
while
it.
you were gone, though, we talked about some good shit. So we're going to have to
I'm
save
so
it.
bummed.
Wait,
Okay.
I know. I'm sorry.
We'll save it.
Well, we'll just have to save it.
Yes.
But I don't really know where we left off, but I was really chomping at the bit before, because I was having feedback, but I was on mute and there's so many things I wanted to say. So
our nervous systems are not regulated.
I know, it's
aggressively
And
nodding.
sprinkle
like,
an
yes.
ADHD, and honestly, it's a disaster because I'm just like, I can relate.
Literally.
Maybe we go to Two Truths, No Lies.
We go to True. Before we get there, there's one thing I just want to say. Platonic intimacy, as Michelle and I like to say. One of the first things, like I was like, when Michelle texted me about this thing that happened on Mother's Day, was like, is he okay? What happened? And then after I got the download, I was like, did you see it? Because
You knew.
I knew. I was like, I hope to effing God she didn't see it, because I just was like, I'm so glad he's safe, and now that we can check that off, fuck.
You're like, she's going down.
This is not what you need. This like
A hole in the head.
a hole in the head.
Literally. Because I also looked when the surgeon, when the plastic surgeon was like, do you want to see it? And I was like,
You're like, duh.
it was akin to that moment when I was pushing and they were like, you want a mirror? And I said no then, but I said yes this time. And okay, I said yes.
That's good for you.
It's a part of the exposure therapy that we now will do with a regulated nervous system. But yeah, we shall work harder, as Mindy is teaching me now.
Which sounds so mean. I'm like, just be better, like just be better. But that's not the truth. It's just that it is harder.
Yes.
It's just harder, and you can do it.
Comparing me to me,
this
we
is
shall
hard.
work harder.
And sometimes, I mean, honestly, and like carving out space, like all joking aside, that we all do work really, really hard, and particularly taking this moment and this situation that we're talking about, like Michelle, you've done, and you alluded to it before, but like leaps and bounds to like be okay with blood. Like blood's gonna happen. I have 2 little boys. Like here we are. I'm a parent. I have littles. Like this is a part of life. And the reality is like no one's equipped for that in that moment. As hard as you like, that's life, and you're working really hard. And even outside of that particular situation, but like with like my postpartum depression, right? I'll feel really, really good. I'm doing all these things. And if I drop like one little tool from my toolkit one day and then I don't feel good the next day, I'm like, oh my God, like, what am I going to have to do all of these things the rest of my life? And my therapist is like, well, right now, like, you might just have to use all the tools in your toolkit. Maybe not forever, but right now, like, it's hard work, but like, you're going to do it because you're going to feel better. And
so true.
So I really resonated with when you were saying that. But let's jump into Two Truths, No Lies. Michelle, I'm going to once again kick it to you because you do a much better job.
Harmonious braid. Okay, so Mindy, as we shared, we do this little segment called Two Truths, No Lies, which gives us permission to hold 2 things at the same time. It's not an out to not inherit someone else's discomfort and make a decision based on that. It's really just saying, I love being a mom, a boy mom, and being a boy mom is also really hard and exhausting. And those 2 truths exist, and that's just it. And there's no but, it's an and. So it's usually affixed to some type of story, an anecdote. Amazing. So tell us what you brought to our Two Truths, No Lies table today.
Okay, I have so many, because it's just all day, every day is several things live at the same time, and they're true. And a lot of the time they just don't feel good. And like, we all just don't want to feel bad, that like we can't tolerate discomfort, And that's actually the bottom line. But my 2 truths, no lies, that I was thinking particularly about was I went from being full-time working, self-sufficient. I've been working since I was like 12 years old, making money, to a stay-at-home mom and being completely dependent on my husband. And having the privilege to do this and being able to be home with my kids has been just that, a privilege, a great joy of my life. So fulfilling, being able to be a part of all these moments. And it put a mirror in front of my face that dug me so deep into a hole and made me feel so less than and so low. And it felt like I had to go through that and look at the mirror image of myself and reevaluate my self-worth and what makes me worthy and valuable in order to achieve the joys that come with this privilege. So the like headline of it is a privilege to be home and to be able to be raising my kids and like this in this way. And it is without a doubt the hardest job I've ever had. Even as an ICU nurse, like, I mean, hard isn't even like a powerful enough word, you know? I'm hearing something.
I don't think that's me. I
It's
think
my
that's your
fan.
dryer.
It's my fan.
Or your fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
okay.
it gets cut
Well,
out
then
on the
that's
back end.
It's
Oh, great. Okay.
I
Perfect. I was just like,
promise if it was always
it's
like
not
this,
me.
we wouldn't record because my ADHD like wouldn't be able to handle this.
You don't
Like-
have to explain to me. This literally feels, don't worry.
Like-
This is, remember, my training is anticipating something going
Right.
on. So I'm like, yeah, of course.
It's
Of course we have something to do.
apropos of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're being
Yeah.
really mindful of all the things.
We're so mindful.
Crazy.
But the two, we're so chill. We are super chill here. But that's it, is that it's been the greatest privilege, created such joy in my life, and has been my greatest hardship.
Yes.
And I don't feel shame about it anymore.
Mm-mm. Oh, I'm so
And
glad
the
that you
shame
don't.
was the part, the shame was the part that was really hard, was being like, I should feel good. I should be so grateful. I should be only grateful. I should not feel these bad feelings, you know? And it's just dialogue in our heads that we tell
Totally.
ourselves. It's bullshit.
Totally.
and we get to dictate it too, you know? So
100%.
actually that is very connected to my training of the practice that it takes in those moments that feel the hardest. And that's where like the change happens, is saying, is either naming the moment, practicing the technique in the hard moment, knowing that it's like, oh, this is the worst time for this, but that's your training ground, and doing it anyways. And it's like kind of going to the gym, you know, like you don't love the idea, but the outcome is what you're aiming for. And I always say, actually, my brother-in-law, he would hate if I didn't give him credit. He calls it TTP, trust the process. So he'll just shout at me, TTP, man. And I'm like, yes,
I love that.
We're going to trust the process, TTP. And it's true. Like, you can't see the outcome. You can't see the like what you're going to get out of it immediately, but you have to trust the process and then watch the result later.
And let's just get meta for a second on, you know, everything that you just shared. Thank you for being so vulnerable and open, and again, relatable doesn't cut it, because I think we all have felt that in some capacity. When you're caring for others, your needs ultimately become tertiary. Like, it's just the reality, and we work hard to get that back to the primary level. But when you have dependents underneath you, they come first in many regards. And when you are working in the home for that, it becomes even more pronounced and exacerbated. Like, a bathroom break feels like a break, but how insane is that? You're literally sitting on the toilet.
It's insane.
Like, it's nuts.
It's insane.
But to carve out more space there, right? You took that, what you were feeling, to then know where you needed to be fulfilled in your own life. And what a beautiful gift it is for yourself that now you have this crevice of your own training and your own method that you can be an impact with others, but ultimately you're also doing that for yourself, and that fulfillment piece of personhood for you is really impactful. So go you.
Thank you.
I
feel
saw
good about it.
Right after you started posting, I think I saw an event. I don't know if it was on your stories or on like your actual grid of something that you were hosting, and it was very California, because lucky you get to be out there.
We are lucky. I tell my kids every time we pass by a beach, I go, look at that, and enjoy it. Enjoy every second of that, because nobody gets it.
No, like literally, it was just so California. It was looked like it was in like an atrium, but I think it was like an outdoor like winery or beer garden or something, and you were hosting this training, and there was just mothers and strollers, and you just seemed again like it's been, you know, almost 20 years in real life since I've probably seen you. But like you just seem to be like in your element in just like the few little clips that I got to see online. And like, what a beautiful thing to be able to lean in that way and start to maybe, like Michelle said, carve out a crevice of something that is in alignment with like something you're passionate about and also something you're really freaking good at. And to do that for you, but also like answer to yourself and create your own schedule. And it's kind of like the done goal. And it's obviously a work in progress. Everything always is. But to hear, again, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that. And it's so much a part of the experience on both ends of whether you're a working mom within the home or a work from home mom that has kids at home and does that balance, or
100%.
Whatever it looks like, it's this grateful and. I am so grateful to have the flexibility to work from home, and it's a lot to manage XYZ, right? When you're the eligible family member. It's a truth that I think the majority of parents feel right now and don't give themselves enough grace to feel it.
Totally.
We don't give ourselves enough grace. And I think for so long, if I can get womanhoodly for a second, in women, you know, and sidebar, I think we're really having like a female awakening right now, which I'm loving. But in womanhood, it's just always been, you know, we have our bubbles, but it is very competitive. And it's almost like if they're doing this, then I'm doing this, and look at them. And it's a natural kind of comparison, and it's useless. And it's like, why can't it be both? Why can't it be like, oh, and she's working and she's doing this, or oh, she's at home, or oh, she's like got a full-time nanny, or oh, she's got, good for her, good for them. It seems like it works for them. Why, you know, like those two things, those many things, they can live at once. And it's like, can we cheer each other on?
Yes.
Like,
we have to. We have to.
I live for that.
There's so much of that lying like so deeply rooted in the foundation of this space for Michelle and I, because we believe so deeply in the power of being vulnerable as a connection point and a cornerstone of connection. And like, I'm the first person to talk about how hard of a time I'm having. I'm also the first person to talk about how much fucking help I have. Like, I have a lot. and most of it is paid. And that sucks a lot sometimes.
And that's your village. And like,
and that's my village.
No, I know.
But like,
and that's why you work so hard.
It's you know, it's crazy. And it's such a privilege to be able to do that. And, you know, rubbing those pennies together to make it work so that I can go to work and then pay for it. But like, that's a conversation for another day.
I know. We got a lot of these that we could go to. I know.
It looks so different, but like, people aren't honest about the amount of help they have. They're not honest about how hard it can be. And sometimes they're not honest about the joy that they have too.
Yes. And you can't have the low low. You can't get the joy without the low lows. I'm certain of it.
That's why we're passionate.
You cannot achieve that.
That's why
the passion. And so
the two truths, no lie. Like, that's it. They're both in existence with each other at all times.
I can totally tell that based on your, like, looking at your, watching and listening to your podcast. I get that vibe so much. And it's such a powerful message. And I feel like the moment I'm met with vulnerability in another woman, it's like approaching a cat. I'm like, I don't want to scare you away. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Come here. And then we're just like kind of like vibing suddenly. And then I'm like, here's my vulnerability. And then it's like, see, this is a safe place. And you have to go gently because it's any second somebody's going to be like, well, no, I'm not like that. Or no, right? Like we're not like that, right? Like, and then suddenly the vulnerability is gone. And so it's like giving everybody a chance of that vulnerability too. You know, like, we're all doing the best we can.
Doing the best. I recently started playing Mahjong with like the moms in my neighborhood, and it's so much fun.
I want to learn.
Like, I'm there to
so
yap.
Desperately.
Like, I'm not there to win. I'm there to yap.
100%.
I have been to almost every game, and I still don't know barely any of the rules.
False.
But
she won the other day.
No, I yet to win. I'm like, I think I was really close, but like no strategy. Anyway, I'm sitting at
Oh,
a table the
I
other
love it.
day and I'm like, playing. I'm like asking questions, not really paying attention. But like meanwhile, I'm like, yeah. So like I started Zoloft and like I started like 25
I was like,
milligrams. I'm feeling
yes,
really good.
yes.
But I've like half these people probably don't even know my kids' names. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so let me talk to you about Zoloft. Have you ever
Yes. You
thought
need to
about
know.
an SSRI? Because I don't want to like pry here, but based on what you're telling me, I think like you'd really benefit from it.
Ripple effect of just being vulnerable
know.
about I'm on Wellbutrin and
Ugh,
extending the hand of saying like, this is assisting me
totally.
and it's working.
Yes.
Yep.
And we use our tools. We're using our tool belt,
Totally.
and like and expressing what comes with that and all the feelings that come with it too. It's like, and it's everybody's personal journey too.
Exactly.
Like
Yes.
No one's alone. And the voice that you said before
nobody.
too,
Yeah.
Mindy, of like the narrative in our heads is so, so loud. I always come back to that because it's like, why should I
Yep.
should be so privileged? I
Yes.
should feel this way. Feel whatever
Mhm.
you feel. Don't try to talk
100%.
yourself off of the feelings bench that you're on. Like, let yourself
Exactly.
stay there.
Exactly. It's
It's
there.
there. But
Mhm.
then when it's time to come off of it, figure out what you're going to do with that fuel.
Let's pivot.
Let's
Totally.
start the business.
Totally.
Let's start the CPR class. Let's do that
Mhm.
because who you thought you would be in this moment prior to having kids is very different than who you are met with today in the mirror.
Every time.
Right? And
Every time. It's with every mother I know, every parent I know,
exactly. And that's the vulnerability thread too that we like to be positive realists about. The joy, no one
Yes.
prepared me for the amount of insane joy
I
and
know.
abundance of joy.
know.
My heart explodes at the look of on my kid's face after they shit on the body, right? Like, who cares
right.
what it
Ugh.
is? The joy no one prepares
My kid
you
just had that
for.
last night too. And I'm like,
Yes.
yes, true joys.
But
And you can't have one without the other.
exactly. And that's what we preach.
And that's
Yes.
what I was gonna say. I like lost it and I was like, it's gone
It came
forever
back.
because that's moms, right? If it's gone,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know.
Mm-mm.
I'll text you about it later. It is here. So
Good.
it's a part of my training that I wanted to touch on because you mentioned the feeling and the thoughts and like we're going to have the feeling. And then what do you do about it? Sometimes nothing. Sometimes
Totally.
it does not mean anything. So like most of the time our thoughts are trash. They're just reflexes that we've heard before or we thought or have been cemented. Our nervous systems have been cemented in our bodies for 34, 35, however many years. So it's going to take so much time for our brains to be like, oh, we don't do that anymore. We do this now. And so when a feeling comes up and it's like, this is awful. I hate it. Yeah, I feel like shit. Okay, that's a feeling. Moving on. Like it's a feeling and you can let yourself sit in it when it's all, like when you have the space to do it, when it's all consuming, when it is safe to do so, those types of things, feeling your feelings 100%. And then also noticing if it's connected to a thought. I'm not good enough. I'm not doing a good job. What the fuck? No, I'm doing a great job. Like I just did all these other things. Why am I focusing on that one thing? So it's, sorry, I said the F word. What did
I've
I
already said it
think?
7 times, so it's okay.
Okay, great.
We're back on the East Coast over here.
Yeah,
East
we're
Coast,
beautiful,
East
beautiful,
Coast
beautiful.
language.
Yeah. We're allowed.
Yeah.
But like the thought, and then so that's what the training is the labeling. So the thought of I'm not good enough, I'm not doing a good enough job. A thought. That's a thought. I'm hungry. And then like going on to the next thing, like, and it is so hard to not fixate. It's like, I don't mean to say that it's simple. It is not, but it's so powerful when you practice it over and over again to be like, I don't know if you've seen it, like one of the many gifs online or something. It was like, not all of my thoughts are valid. Sometimes they're trash.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's true.
So true.
Like our feelings are all valid. I feel that all feelings are valid, but our thoughts can be real trash. Like the thought will come
100%.
in. It's a reflex that you have about somebody, yourself, something. It doesn't hold weight. It's just a thought.
Totally.
Michelle taught me the language of like name it to tame it, and labeling it is huge and as someone who is like actively working through like learning what it feels like not to have swinging moods, because this wasn't just in postpartum. It was really acute in postpartum, but I'm realizing now that I'm medicated that this has actually been going on much longer than that. And one thing
Totally same.
that I've really cued in on that I'm still trying to figure out is I would go very quickly historically to like maybe having a low moment, but then I could talk it out and have a conversation, and then I could be really, really happy afterwards. And I, in this healing process, and sometimes when I'm feeling low, I try to I'm like, wait, I talked it out. We've moved on.
Let's move on.
Why am I
haven't I moved
not
on?
so super happy right now? And it's like,
I should be all better.
it's because you can't have your cake and eat it too. I can't
Yeah.
eliminate the negative mood swings, but keep the positive ones.
Totally.
So,
And allowing that discomfort. You're so right.
I might just have to sit in feeling low today and just be okay with that. Today, you know what? I'm feeling a little sad, or I'm feeling a little disappointed. I'm going to name that feeling and we're going to move on. I need to stop trying to expedite to feeling
Speed through it.
euphoric.
I know.
Like, that's just not who I'm going to be today. And that's okay. And like naming that is a really big part of that particular process for me right now. And in terms of nervous system regulating, because I want to make sure that we like really get back to there. Like,
I know, sorry.
No,
This is amazing.
I'm the tangential one here.
No, same.
But I really like how you keep going back to how when you're able to identify that thought and then like the tool to access in that moment, right? And I think that's something that we all struggle with at times, of knowing when and how, and you have to be like super meta about it before it becomes automatic.
Absolutely.
It's really, really hard work. I've noticed just
Really hard work.
recently that I'm starting to be able to be like, I feel anxious energy in my body, I'm going to go for a walk. Not, I feel anxious energy in my body, I'm going to like sit in it, I'm going to start crying, I'm going to start projecting it towards other things. And then I'm going to like have my, what did we used to call it? Our shitstorm playbook. And I have to take a hot shower to bring it down. No, I feel it build. I'm going to walk and like let it, I'm going to journal and put it out. So do you have any like clinical and like from your training things that you can share in terms of like, I'm feeling X. You talked about the deep breathing. Like, what else? What other things can we just like grab onto, whether it's mantras or tools in your toolkit that you can share?
Two things that I love are, so one thing is a grounding technique that I used earlier in our talk. And actually, Michelle, I noticed you were rubbing your chest too.
I do it all the time.
So mine
Not
is,
this,
I rub my chest. Yeah, there's not a lot of this, but there will be the one. No, I feel that too. Like, I didn't notice it until literally recently. I remember it the day of the pool last summer. I put my hand on my chest and I go, I can do it. I can do it. I don't know how I remember that too in that moment, but my mantras have been, I can do it, or I'm here now. And that's something that was during labor. I'm here now. I'm doing it. I'm here now. But so the grounding of the rub, it's so simple, but they're effective. And tracking what your personal grounding is. So mine's the rub. I know somebody who grabs their hair. I do this too, the hair, or like your arms are like, crossed, or you're holding your hands, or some other thing, your hand is on your face. Whatever it is, if you start tracking it, it becomes more attuned to your brain, and then it becomes like self-soothing. And that's a grounding technique to kind of be like, okay, I'm doing this on purpose and it's helping, it's working. In the heightened moment,
love that. It's like, no, don't try all these things. Pay attention to what you do and do that.
Like you're doing these things for a reason.
You're doing it already.
You don't even realize you're doing it. Pay attention. As I'm sitting here with my thumbs like this.
I know, you don't know.
Like, hello, it's right in front of you, Mindy. Thank you for carving that out.
They're simple, but they're effective. It's really, and that other one was the mantra. But also naming the moment, just like we were just touching on. It's really, I do it in live time with my boys. Like some people use like a scale or something. My sister does like, oh, I'm yellow. Mom's getting into orange. I don't want to be red because I get, I might
Yeah.
yell. I don't,
Yeah.
you know, like, or
Who's to
whatever it
say?
is that
Yeah.
works. And for, we don't know what mom will do in
We
red.
just don't want to get there.
We don't want to, the counting 3, 2, 1. I'm like, ooh, I start like breathing and I say, I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling really mad in my body. I'm starting to feel really mad. I'm starting to feel, and I start saying it and then suddenly I'm silly and it's like diffusing,
Mhm.
and so like the naming of it and then catching it before it like spirals, before it starts that spiral. And actually medicine helps with that.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to touch on. Like medicine gives you that second to be like, oh, I have a second to think about what I could troubleshoot. When you're in the heightened moment of postpartum depression, same. I've been in those low lows and it took me a very long time to turn to medicine. And that's like, you don't have the accessibility when you're that low, but
Exactly.
so those are the things that I'd say in the moment. And actually instant things when you're really heightened, go and grab an ice cube. I don't know if you've ever
Yeah.
done that.
Yeah.
Like go
Love.
to your freezer and grab an ice cube, chug cold water, sure. Or you could put cold water on your face. But honestly, it's faster, easier to grab the ice cube and start walking. Cause like suddenly I'm totally attuned to this horrible feeling in my hand,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
and it's like interrupting the synapse of the automatic reaction.
Yes.
And like, what is it going to do? Actually, the other thing, sorry, one more thing.
No, keep 'em
I
coming.
touch the table and I'll tell myself like what I feel, like, oh, it's hard, it's smooth, there's a little divot. Or if it's on a counter, it's cold, like very simple, obvious things. And that's mindfulness too,
Yeah.
of doing the movement mindfully.
Oh, those are
They're
great
simple,
tools.
but effective.
So helpful.
Incredible. I'm like, I feel more grounded just having this conversation, honestly, and just like thinking and
Good.
visualizing those things. It's, it really is.
Yay.
It's so simple and so hard. Two truths and lies.
Mhm.
It's so simple and it can be so hard to access and it takes practice and you're rewiring your brain.
Yeah.
And
It is.
I want to like double click on what you said earlier about the PTSD and the hypervigilance. There's probably so many people, but particularly mothers, who are walking around in that state every day and don't have language for that and don't know that they're operating in that
Resources.
way. And I'm really grateful simply that you pointed that out and that you gave language to that, because I think there could probably be at least one person that's listening that's like, oh, that
I hope so, because
might,
we don't give
yeah.
ourselves enough credit.
We really
Mhm.
don't. You're so right. And it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be monumental. It could be something small. Like we always say, during second shift, like that 3 to 7, 3 to 8 window, you have to have a lot.
The
What's
worst.
so hard, like so hard.
The
Like
worst.
A second shift or like fifth shift?
yeah, the
but-
20th shift of the
I know.
day. But it's like you have to work really hard to compartmentalize and put it on a shelf. And when you get to that point where it's like 7:38, you're kind of nearing the end and you have to do all these things. Like there's just so much and your nervous system is quite literally not regulating in that moment. And then your kid has to go to the bathroom or they need this and they need that. And you're like, system's shutting down.
And God help us if the oven fan is on during all of that, because there's no chance I'm surviving it. Like, the stimulation level.
Even this morning, I have a sound machine out, like an old school one that you put like outside a therapist's office. I keep one in the hallway outside the kids' room as like another sound barrier.
Genius.
But I'll forget it's on sometimes. And I'm like, even after like
What's
they've
driving
been
me
sent to
crazy?
school, I'm like, can't come back down. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, and I'll turn it off and I'm like,
Jaw is relaxed.
That's like, oh my God.
When your jaw literally relaxes and your tongue comes like off of the roof of your mouth, you're like,
It's like, oh, that's why I was on the
cool.
verge of a mental
Right.
breakdown. The fan or the sound machine. But it's so real. And I said this again, and like I hate that I like keep bringing this back to like my own journey. But like on our last episode when I was talking about it,
Do not hate that.
I literally, it's the scene from 101 Dalmatians where Cruella de Vil is like the cartoon version. She's going through and she's like driving with her hair crazy. And I'm like 2 days after taking medication, I was like, that is how I've been operating I don't know how long. I truly do not know how long. I forgot that you didn't have to have a pit in your chest. I forgot that you didn't have to constantly be physically sometimes running from place to place and task to task. And so not everyone needs meds. I want to be very clear.
Right.
But
but just recognizing that piece.
that piece, like some people may be able to get there naturally in just like these grounding techniques. If you're having trouble and you're trying so hard and you still just cannot, like, talk to your doctor for anyone listening, because like it can make such a huge difference, because without that, I wouldn't have been able to access the tools.
Right.
And the tools, it's not just the medicine, but like the ability to then access
the tools.
is
That's
then
it.
where
that is
the transformation happens.
absolutely. And truly, and talk to your doctor and talk to your safe space of women, because what you think is normal really might not be.
I know.
Or what you think is crazy might be normal.
Exactly. Right.
It's like you just don't know. And it's
maybe you need an ice
very
cube.
lonely.
Maybe you need medicine. Like it, but try it out and look in the mirror, because then you'll figure it out what the next step is.
Yeah, like how many women are cold plunging in the morning, and like I'm happy for them that they can do that, but they're putting their bodies into tubs of ice, and like they should do that, but like also like they could go on a SSRI too.
Go to therapy
they
too.
Could go to therapy.
Both can be true.
Both can be true. Both can be true.
Do therapy in the ice plunge.
Oh yes, let's get meta even more. Amazing.
Oh my God, this was so amazing. I feel like
Mindy.
this is like chapter 1 of 18,
so
20,
great.
25, 100. I'm so grateful that you took the time to talk to us. I'm so incredibly happy that you have found this crevice, and it's
Thank
like
you.
obviously like itching like the professional part of your brain and the medical part of your brain. You're able to do that, but also like allowing you to connect with people and talk about something you're passionate about is just, it's a unicorn space. It's amazing. So
thank you. I'm excited and happy. Yeah.
Before we wrap,
and thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, it was our absolute pleasure.
and
Before we wrap
privilege.
up though, joy ticket of the week. That's something that we love. Like, what is something that is just bringing you like absolute joy right now? It could be literally anything under the sun, random, big, small, whatever.
Okay. I saw Nate Bargatze on Mother's Day, actually, live.
Love.
He's unbelievable. I was sleeping under a rock because I did not know about him. Look up Nate Bargatze's SNL skit when he's George Washington.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Done.
So good.
You had us at
Do
SNL.
it now because you will not be sorry. I know.
Joy ticket. Let's go. I
Love
can't
it.
wait.
I think like 8 out of 10 joy tickets for me typically are SNL related or related to an alum of SNL at some point or another.
An alum. Yeah, it's true. It's
Raw comedy.
Why fix what's not broken?
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay, we will have to. I think I know exactly which one you're talking about, and I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
It's good.
Again, thank you so very much for joining us. Where can everyone find you on Instagram so that they can get all these tools in real time and stay connected?
Yes, I'm called Calm Responder, and that's my handle is Calm Responder.
Perfect. We'll link it.
And thank you so much for having me. This was so great. It was such a great talk, and so good to meet you, Michelle.
So good to meet you too.
And you guys clearly are. This is such a wonderful space, and you guys are very clearly wonderful mothers and just humans. So
thank you. That's so
be proud of
kind to
yourselves.
say.
You're coming back. Coming back for part 2, girl.
You're going to have to come
I'll be
back
back.
100%. And all right, well, you all know where to find us at the MTake Podcast on Instagram and YouTube and like wherever else I decide to like maybe post this week. We'll see if I do.
Beautiful.
And I think that's all we got for you, right, Michelle?
Give yourself a big smooch.
Give yourself a smooch. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.